Minister, countless people have contacted my office in relation to the lack of affordable housing in counties Cavan and Monaghan. When constituents contact me wondering what they should do, and perhaps you as Minister will advise, the local authority informs them that they are over the threshold for social housing. Perhaps they've got a few extra shifts at work or have had their hours increased, and suddenly they no longer qualify for social housing. However, that means they no longer qualify for any sort of housing support payment, but they can't afford to rent a property at the current market values. So they have a decision to make, and that decision frequently results in them turning down work, turning down the extra shifts, or refusing to claim a social welfare payment they are entitled to because they must restrict their income in order to qualify for social housing, or to be more exact, qualify for social housing supports. And these are individuals or couples who are quite happy to work, to increase their hours and support themselves and their families, and would quite happily rent privately, but they cannot afford to. The alternative is to try and squat in with parents, which is not always an option, or become homeless. Even properties of a very low standard, properties which are dark and damp and mouldy and don't have sufficient space, are being rented out to families and individuals for exorbitant rents. And these are places that no one would rent if they had any sort of choice. They are houses that are in bad condition and they're bad for people's health and for their physical and mental well-being, but they've no choice. To rent a 3-bedroom property in Cavan, it costs approximately €900 per month. In fact, according to the RTB, average rents in Cavan have risen by 27% in 4 years, and in Monaghan by 17%. We have couples whose relationship has ended, being forced to continue living together, as again they can't afford to live in separate dwellings due to the lack of availability and affordability. And there's just no properties available at any cost or any description or of any sort in my constituency. I think last week a constituent told me there were 6 properties available for rent, and none of them that she could afford. Minister, action has to be taken to deal with this problem, because it's just getting worse and worse, and people are worried and stressed out about how to afford the rent. They're being forced into property. You must begin a programme of building affordable houses for rent and for purchase. Housing need throughout this country is at crisis point, and action needs to be taken. I'm listening to young people who are telling me that they are going to emigrate because they cannot afford any sort of reasonable standard of living in this country.
Chris Andrews.